All right, shalom. All praises to the Most High. I'm going to share some information, history, Gaza. So it says Gaza, the fortified, the strong. That's the meaning of its name. Properly Azah, one of the 5 chief cities of the Philistines. It is remarkable for its continuous existence and importance from the very earliest times. The secret of this unbroken history is to be found in the situation of Gaza. It is the last town in the southwest of Palestine on the frontier towards Egypt. The same particularly of situation has made Gaza important in a military sense. Its name means the strong, and this was well elucidated in its siege attack by Alexander the Great, which lasted 5 months. In the conquest, the victory of Joshua, the territory of Gaza, if you can see it, is mentioned as one which he was not able to subdue. All right. It was assigned to the tribe of Judah, and the tribe did obtain possession of it. All right. But did not hold it long. And apparently it continued through the times of Samuel, Saul, and David to be a Philistine city. All right, a Philistine city. Solomon became master of Gaza, but in after times, the same trouble with the Philistines reoccurred. It happened again. All right. It says here, the passage, let's see. Yeah, it says here, the passage where, oh wait, I'm sorry. So trouble had occurred again with the Philistines, all right, at Gaza. It's like a little image of Gaza, right? A very productive, but the chief feature of the neighborhood is the widespread olive grove to the northeast, or the north and the northeast. So I think it went over here, so let me actually read it right. It says here, but in after times, the same trouble with the Philistines reoccurred. So war happened again. The passage where Gaza is mentioned in the New Testament, Acts 8:26, is full of interest. It is on the account of the baptism of the Ethiopian eunuch on his return from Jerusalem to Egypt. Gaza is the modern Gaza, a Mohammedan town of about 16,000 inhabitants, situated partly on a belonging hill of moderate height and partly on the lower ground. The climate of the place is almost tropical, but it has deep wells of excellent water. There are a few palm trees in the town and its fruits orchard. And then it says here, a very productive, but the chief feature of the neighborhood is the widespread olive grove to the north and the northeast. All right. All right. All right. So that's it on that. We're going to go to this Zanderveld Bible Dictionary and read it in here. Gaza, strong. One of the 5 chief Palestine cities and the most southwardly toward Egypt. It was an important stop on the caravan route. Originally a Canaanite city, Gaza was assigned by Joshua to Judah and was occupied later. it was captured by the Philistines, the giants, and controlled by them until the time of Hezekiah. Samson was imprisoned and died in Gaza. All right. And it is mentioned once in the New Testament in connection with Philip's ministry to the Ethiopian eunuch. All right. So, I want to go into Josephus, all right, and read some things in the Josephus. And this reads, this is chapter 13, um, book 13, chapter 13, paragraph 3. But I'm going to read this chapter because it's awesome. It's really good. It says how Alexander, upon the league of mutual defense with Cleopatra, had agreed with him and made an expedition against Assyria and utterly overthrew the city of Gaza, and how he killed many 10,000s of Jews, Israelites, that had rebelled against him. Also concerning Antiochus, Gryphus, Seleucus, Antiochus, Zencius, and Antiochus Pius, and others. Right? I'll try to read this. All right. It says, when Cleopatra saw that her son was grown great and laid Judea waste without disturbance and had gotten the city of Gaza under his power, she resolved no longer to overlook what he did. When he was almost at her gates, she concluded that now he was so much stronger than before, he would be very desirous of the rulership over the Egyptians. But she immediately marched against him with a fleet at sea and an army of foot on land, and made Chelcias and Ananias and the Jews generals of her whole army, while she sent the greatest part of her riches, her grandchildren, and her testament to the people of Kos. Cleopatra also ordered her son Alexander to sail with a great fleet to Phoenicia, and when the country had revolted, she came to Ptolemais, and because the people of Ptolemais did not receive her, she attacked the city. But Ptolemy went out of Syria and made haste. He sped unto Egypt. He ran to Egypt, supposing that he should find it empty of an army, and she took it. And he took it. Though he failed of his hopes at this time, Chelcias, one of Cleopatra's generals, happened to die in Syria, as he was in pursuit of Ptolemy. When Cleopatra heard of her son's attempt at this, his Egyptian war did not go well according to his expectations, she sent there part of her army and drove him out of the country. So when he was returned out of Egypt again, he lived during the winter at Gaza, at which time Cleopatra took the garrison that was in Ptolemais by attack, as well as the city. All right. It says, and when Alexander came to her, he gave her presents and such marks of respect as were but proper, since under the miseries he endured by Ptolemy, he had no other refuge protection but her. Now there were some of her friends who persuaded her to attack Alexander, and to overrun and take possession of the country, and not to sit still and see such a multitude, a large crowd of brave Jews, subject slaves to one man. But Ananias' advice was contrary to theirs, who said that she would do an unjust action if she deprived a man that was her ally of that authority which belonged to him, and this a man who is related to us, for, said he, I would not have you ignorant of this, that what injustice you do to him will make all of us that are Jews, Israelites, to be your enemies, This desire of Ananias, Cleopatra complied. She agreed with and did no injury to Alexander, but made a league friendship of mutual assistance with him at Scythopolis, a city of Cilicia. So when Alexander was delivered from the fear he was in of Ptolemy, he presently made an expedition, that means a war, against Cilicia. He also took Gadara after an attack of 10 months, war of 10 months. He took also Amathus, a very strong fortress belonging to the population above Jordan, where Theodorus, the son of Zeno, had his chief treasure, and he was esteemed most precious. This Zeno fell unexpectedly upon the Jews and slew thousands of them and attacked upon Alexander's baggage. Still did not this misfortune terrify Alexander, but he made a war upon the maritime parts of the country, Raphia and Anthedon, the name of which King Herod afterwards changed to Agrippa's, and took even that by force. But when Alexander saw that Ptolemy was retired from Gaza to Cyprus, and his mother Cleopatra was returned to Egypt, he grew angry. He got upset at the people of Gaza, and because they had invited Ptolemy to assist them, to help them, and attack their city and ravage their country. So he attacked their city and ravaged their country. He raped their country. But as Apollodotus, the general of the army of Gaza, fell upon the camp of the Jews by night with 2,000 foreign and 10,000 of his own forces, while the night lasted, those of Gaza prevailed. They had the victory because the enemy was made to believe that it was Ptolemy who attacked them. But when the day was come on, and that mistake, sorry if you can't see, and that mistake was corrected, and the Jews knew the truth of the matter, they came back again and fell upon those of Gaza and killed of them about 1,000. But as those of Gaza strongly resisted them, and would not allow for either their want of anything, nor for the great multitude, size, or crowd that were killed. For they would rather suffer any hardship whatever than come under the power of their enemies. All right. Artis, king of the Arabians, a person then very illustrious, encouraged them to go on with alacrity, with bravery, and promised them that he would come to their aid. But it happened that before he came, Apollodotus was killed, for his brother Licinius, envying him for the great reputation he had gained among the citizens. He killed him and got the army together and delivered up the city to Alexander, who, when he came, he was quiet, but afterwards set his army upon the inhabitants, the people of Gaza, and gave them leave to punish them. So some went one way and some went another, and killed the population of Gaza. Still were not they of cowardly hearts, but opposed those they fought those that came to kill them, and killed as many of the Jews, and some of them, when they saw themselves deserted, that when they were left, they start to burn their own houses, that the enemy might get none of their spoils, their treasures. And still some of them, with their own hands, with their own power, they killed their children and their wives, having no other way but this of avoiding slavery for them. But the senators, who were in all 500, fled to Apollos' temple. All right. For this attack happened to be made as they were sitting. Okay. Doesn't that sound interesting? But let me read it again. But the senators, who were in all 500, fled to Apollo's temple. They were having a celebration, whom Alexander killed. He killed the senators. And when he had utterly overthrown their city, he returned to Jerusalem, having spent a year in the attack. So this battle in Gaza, it was a year. It took a year. I'm gonna continue. About this very time, Antiochus, who was called Gryphus, died. His death was caused by Herculean's treachery when he had lived 45 years and had reigned 29. His son Seleucus succeeded him in the kingdom. All right. All right. I don't know if you guys can see the kingdom. And made war with Antiochus, his father's brother, who was called Antiochus Cyzicenus, and beat him and took him prisoner and slew him. But after a while, Antiochus, the son of Zencius, who was called Pius, came to Ardus and put the diadem, put the crown on his own head, and made war with Seleucus, and beat him and drove him out of all Syria. All right. But when he fled out of Syria, he came to Messustia again and levied money upon them. But the people of Mophius had indignation, hate at what he did, and burnt down his palace and slew him, together with his friends. But when Antiochus, the son of Jantius, was king of Syria, Antiochus, the brother of Seleucus, made war upon him and was overcome and destroyed. He and his army after him. His brother Philip put a crown on him and reigned over some part of Syria. But Ptolemy Lasrius sent for out his brother Demetrius, who was called Euphrius, from Sindus, and made him king of Damascus. Both these brothers did Antiochus vehemently hate, but presently died. For when he was come as an auxiliary to Laodice, queen of the Geladites, when she was making war against the Parthians, he was fighting courageously. He fell while Demetrius and Philip governed Syria, as have been elsewhere related. All right. All right. And there's some notes here that are good. If you pause it, you can read it if you want. But this is what I want you to hear. As to Alexander, his own people were seditious against him. They were revolters against him. For at a festival, at a celebration, which was then celebrated, a feast, when he stood upon the altar, he stood upon an altar, all right, and was going to sacrifice. He was going to kill or give an offering, a gift. The nation rose upon him and pleaded with citrons, all right, which then they had in their hands, because the laws, the commandments of the Jews, the Israelites, required that at the Feast of Tabernacles, everyone should have branches of the palm tree and citron tree. See the timing? Which thing we have elsewhere related. They also reviled him, they hated him, as derived from a captive. They hated him because they believed that he derived from a captive. When you read the note down here, it says, the reproach upon Alexander, all right, the blame of Alexander, all right, or disgust of Alexander, correction, that he was sprung from a captive, that he was born of a slave, right, and seems only the reputation of the old Pharisaical calumny upon his father. All right. Anyway, so this was down during the Feast of Tabernacles, everybody. This stuff was going on, right? Um, and so unworthy of his dignity, he was unworthy to do any sacrifice, all right? And of sacrificing, of giving a gift, all right? At this, he was enraged. He was upset, and he slew of them about 6,000. That number 6, all right? He also built a partition wall. I don't know if you can, a partition wall of wood around the altar and the temple, as far as the partition within, which it was only lawful for the priests to enter. See, it was only lawful for the what? The priest to enter, not the king, and give a sacrifice. And by this means, he obstructed the multitude from coming at him. He also maintained foreigners of Pisidia and Sicilia, for as to the Syrians, he was at war with them, and so made no use of them. He also overcame the Arabians, such as the Moabites and the Gileadites, and made them bring tribute taxes. However, he demolished Amathus, all right, in Gaza, while Theodorus dared not fight with him, the ruler of Gaza. But as he joined battle with Obedias, king of the Arabians, and fell into an ambush in the places that were rugged and difficult to be traveled over. He was thrown down into a deep valley by the multitude of the camels at Gadara, a village of Gilead, and hardly escaped with his life. From there he fled to Jerusalem, where, besides his other ill success, the nation insulted him, and he fought against them for 6 years, and he slew no fewer than 50,000 of them. And when he desired that they would stop from their ill will to him, they hated him so much the more because of what he had already did. And when he had asked them what he ought to do, they all cried out that he ought to kill himself. They told Alexander, "You should kill yourself." They also sent to Demetrius Eucharius and desired him to make a league of mutual defense with them. All right. And so, and there's a note at the bottom, right? It says the name Tharacida, which the Jews gave Alexander, must, by the coherence, denote as barbarous as a Tharcian, or somewhat like it, but what it properly signifies is not truly known. All right, so a lot of this stuff and wars and things was going on at Gaza and continue to go on. And some of the timing was at the Feast of Tabernacles. History repeats itself or gets worse, right? So that's about it. That's all I had. Let's if I can grab this last one. Let's see if I can grab it. See, Judges 16, I believe. Let's see. 16 and Judges 16. I don't know if you can see some of this. Then they put him between the pillars. All right. And Samson said to the boy who was leading him by the hand, "Let go of me and let me feel the pillars that the temple rests upon, that I may lean on them." Now the temple was full of men and women. All the masters of the Philistines were there, the elite. And there were some 3,000 men and women on the roof watching Samson dance. Then Samson called to the Most High, O Most High Power, Ahia, O Elohim, O Yahuwah, please remember me, Ancient of Days, Lord of Spirits, and give me strength, give me power, just this once, O Most High Power, to take revenge on the Philistines, if only for one of my 2 eyes. He embraced the 2 middle pillars that the temple rested upon. This is in Gaza, one with his right arm and one with his left, and leaned against them. Samson cried, let me die with the Philistines. And he pulled with all his strength, his power. The temple came crashing down on the lords, the masters, the elites, and all the people in it. Those who were slain, killed by him as he died, outnumbered those who had been killed by him when he lived. All right. And his brothers and all his father's household came down and carried him up and buried him in the tomb of his father, Manoah, between Zorah and Stoal. He had led Israel for 20 years. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All right. And let's see if I could get that too. Come on, come on. Let's see. Let's see. Ezekiel 7, verse 25. For the time has come for the cutting off of Israel. Let's see. It says here, I will crush your pride by bringing to Jerusalem the worst of the nations to occupy your homes, break down your fortifications you are so proud of, and defile your temple, the Iron Dome, and all that stuff. For the time has come for the cutting off of Israel. You will sue for peace, but you won't get it. Calamity upon calamity will befall you. Woe upon woe, disaster upon disaster against the fake Yahudim. You will long for a prophet to guide you, but the priests and elders and the kings and the princes will stand helpless, weeping in despair. The people will tremble with fear, for I will do to them the evil they have done and give them all their just deserts. They shall learn that I, the Most High, am the King and the Master. All right. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah. All right. That's pretty much all I got. So all praises to the Most High. Isaiah 17. Look, Damascus is gone. All right. It is no longer a city. It has become a heap of ruins. That's what's going to happen. All right. The strength of Israel and the power of Damascus will end, and the remnant of Syria shall be destroyed. All right. For as Israel glory departed, so theirs too will disappear, declares the Most High. Shalom.